საქართველოს პირველი არხი წარმოგიდგენთ.
So my story here is kind of, I don't know, kind of complicated. People ask me, why are you here? How did you get here? It's kind of a long, complicated story because, I mean, originally I'm from California and I moved to Chicago to play music. And then I just kind of felt like I needed to move to Europe. I just had another dream to, one of my dreams is to play music and another dream was to travel. And so I ended up in Poland, and that's a long, complicated story, but eventually I spent most of the 90s there. Around 1996, I met Justyna, and in 1996 I moved in with Justyna in Krakow. And I was playing music there with some Ukrainian musicians, like jazz musicians, and I started a blues combo with a piano player, Valek Dubrovsky. And then other transit musicians were always coming and going. There'd be like a Moldovan guitar player, some Ukrainian poets, It was really weird music. It wasn't really blues. It was just, I don't know what it was.
You told me, baby, once upon a time, said if I'd be yours, little girl, you shall be mine. That's all right. I know you love another man, that's all right. But every now and then I wonder who's loving you tonight. You told me, baby, your love for me was strong. I woke up this morning, my big world is gone. That's all right. I know you love another man, that's all right. And then I wonder who's got their arms around me.
Then one day, Zaza Korintelli and Gia Beshwashvili just kind of walked into the bar. They're like, hey, I'll go. So we invited Zaza and Gia to live with us. And so they came and they moved into Justyna's flat, and we became really good friends. And that's how we learned about Georgia. Georgia moved into our house. And later they had another friend, Gia Chanturia, who came and joined them, and we played music together, and Gia was living with us. And and after a while, Justyna and I were talking about, one of these days we have to visit Georgia. And but in the meantime, I was writing, doing a lot of writing, like nonfiction and travel stories. And Justyna is a photographer, and she went freelance. And we thought, well, maybe we'll move to Mexico. And so that was our plan, was to move to Mexico. But first, we came to Georgia in 2001. We thought we'd spend a couple months in the summer, and then kept extending the return trip. We didn't want to go back to Poland. We really loved it here in 2001. Come on, Ramses. Come on. Here you go. There you go. Gigi, come on, your turn. Come on, Gigi. Gigi. Kitty, kitty, kitty. Gigi, come on. Gigi, come on. No, no, wrong. That's dog food. That's dog food. You're gonna get bitten. Come on. Come on. No. Cat. Come on. Come on. You're next. Gigi, your turn. Smacznego. Yeah, we played a lot of funny gigs there with Zaza and Gia and Valak. Sometimes even with Sasha. We played at a supermarket. We played at a Frederick Chopin festival. Why did they invite us? I have no idea, but it was just crazy. There was Gia, Zaza, and you know what was really cool about our group. I mean, with the Ukrainian guys and the Georgian guys together, even though they weren't familiar with blues music, they really felt the essence of blues, because blues is a really very universal music. You know, it's all, I mean, rock and roll came from blues, right? So it's all about emotions, very raw emotions, you know, about broken hearts, hard life, happy times. I mean, it's everything, but very, very basic. And the whole beat of blues is like, it's the beat of your heart, right? It's the same thing.
Well, I got a gal, I'm sure that she's the one. She's a pretty little thing, really goes to me. She's got two big sparkling eyes, and they must have kissed them. She's a girl that radiates that charm. Up in the morning, I go out and make the money. When I drum and pay, I give it all to her. Just to see her eyes light up, whoa, it's crazy. She's a girl that radiates that charm.
This was my grandmother's molcajete. And now it's got a bunch of other stuff in it. But she made her salsa in this. She ground the peppers in that. That's from California. Yeah, she came to California around, I don't know, like 1920, something like that. She came from Mexico her family came during the Mexican Revolution to California. And my grandfather used to work for her father. My great-grandfather made illegal alcohol and used to sell it, and my grandfather used to drive the car. And that's how he met my grandmother. He's like, oh, that guy, your daughter, she's really pretty. So he kidnapped her, you know, Georgian style, you know, Mexican style. You just kidnap the girl you're in love with. It doesn't matter what she thinks. So my mom, my mom was a singer, really good singer, really, really good singer. And she wanted to be an opera singer. Along the way, one night she was at a dance and she met my father, fell in love with my dad, and gave up her singing career, basically. I mean, there are a lot of reasons why, but she gave up her singing career and married my dad. My dad was a Californian, first generation. His parents came from Europe. His father came from Prussia, from Poznan, which was Posen back then. Yeah, he was a Prussian and Irish, and my grandmother, she was Irish, and they had 9 children in California, and so my dad comes from a big family of 9 kids, and my grandfather was an inventor. He invented farm machinery like plows and tractors and all sorts of things like that. And the joke is he invented all these great things that started corporations, but he never made any money because he was just an inventor. He wasn't a businessman. So I'm half German and half Mexican, basically. But, and lots of Irish.
Anti-corona.
Anti-corona lekarstwo. Love this color.
How much is? How much is?
Very much.
Peace.
For peace.
Yeah.
Oof.
Hello?
Justina. Okay, there you are.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
we're just calling to check in on you to see how you're doing there.
Okay, yeah. I'm doing as every day. I'm tired from working. I'm like working, walking, filing, going sleep.
And then same thing in the morning.
I've seen the Georgian Legion.
Uh-huh.
So I was speaking Georgian yesterday.
Jowo, Geneswali.
And how is you? How Nestanita, co ty robiłaś?
No, filmowali z 3, teraz już jest 9, no więc...
Oh Jesus, a ty co robiłaś? Pomagałaś
7
troszkę?
godzin... Nie, bo musiałam też być tu, bo też mnie filmowali potem, tak, i pomogłam.
O, rozumiem.
You're gonna come back this weekend then.
Next week, I think. I was thinking about this, and I'll come next week, I think. You know.
Okay. Now she's in Ukraine covering the war for the Wall Street Journal. Yeah, she showed up in Ukraine right when the war started. So we're waiting for her. She should be back next week.
This is already in Lviv train station. There was a place where when mother had a very small kid, they could like take a break, a rest, you know, there was a medical, there was all volunteers, done by volunteers. And then people were packed to trains going to Poland. And this girl, you know, when you go to the train, priority goes to mother with small children. And she was there with somebody from the family member, which she was afraid they get separated. Because she was already in, train was packed, and her sister, maybe friend, were outside. And this woman needs them for the baby, you need the help. You cannot really carry all the stuff on your own. So she's really, but her friend or family member were in the train at the end. Really, literally, I was for a day and a half in front of computer talking to all the friends to help me to find anybody who can take me out from there. You know, because I already knew that I'll be working for Wall Street Journal in Lviv. So, you know, but it was just not that easy to leave, to get to Lviv at this point. And then I will spend 2 weeks in Lviv, covering mostly like humanitarian situation, the IDPs, people, you know, the biblical exodus of, you know, women and children mostly.
Last night, I lost the best friend I ever had. Last night, I lost the best friend I ever had. You gone and left me, made me feel so awful sad.
So we came in 2001 for a few months, and I was working already on my Caucasus project, trying to see if I can work on my own, go freelance, because I was working in a newspaper in Poland, didn't like it. I wanted to do the bigger stories, the stories I cared, and so I was just really all these months we were like drinking a lot, but I was also working all the time, you know. And then I started working always as a freelancer, but I started working for different international publications. Like from 2005, I started working for New York Times, and I was like doing most of the stories from Caucasus for them. I covered the war in 2008 in Georgia for the New York Times, and for this story, I got the story was awarded with World Press Photo. And then later I work in different things. Like essentially, when I finished my Caucasus book when it was published in 2013. Then I went to work on a project about Ukraine. And I spent another few years focusing more on Ukraine, going back and forth. I started this project on my own with no financing. And a year down the line, I was thinking, that's it, I cannot do it on my own anymore. Then I won big competition for projects for photographers around the world. So it allowed me to continue.
Justina, by then, she was working for the New York Times, and she started to get her, really known for her photography, winning awards for the World Press Photo Awards, and then later the Aftermath Grant Project, and then after that, the Eugene Smith Prize, which is kind of like the, Eugene Smith is like the Academy Awards for documentary photography. So, I mean, Justina's really, really badass. Justina's working as a photographer. I work doing a few things. I mean, I was a journalist for a while, and a food writer, and now I have my own food tourism business. And I play blues with the Natural Born Lovers, the best blues band in Georgia and the only blues band in Georgia. And I'm really lucky to play with those guys, man. Those guys are really, I played with the greatest musicians, but these guys, they really hold their own. I mean, Dato and David, the bass player and drummer, those guys are just so tight. And they know the blues, they feel it. And Tom, as a guitar player, he's just a monster, so.
The kind of loving that you wanna take my time. Tell me, baby, what made your name? Oh, it's loving first sight, and I hope you feel the same.
Neston came along. She entered our live in 2010. Our little Tbilisi, yeah. Come here, honey. Neston entered our lives in 2010, and happiest day of my life. People they'll say, Georgians will go, well, is she Georgian? I mean, why Neston? Why'd you name her Neston? Why Neston? And well, for a couple reasons. Well, she's kind of named after a dear friend, Neston Nijaradze, who very beautiful woman with a beautiful name, And we thought it's such an unusual and beautiful name, and not to mention also, you know, Nestan Dadijan, the heroine from Night in the Panther Skin.
ძალიან მიყვარდა მამაჩემის მუსიკა და როცა უყურებდი უბრალოდ ვფიქრობდი რომ მეც როცა გავიზრდები მინდა რაღაც მუსიკასთან რაღაც კონტაქტი მქონდეს და რაღაც მუსიკით რაღაც მუსიკის გავაკეთო რა რაღაცაზე დაუკრა რაღაც ინსტრუმენტზე და გავიდა რამოდენიმე წელი 5 წელი გავიდა და უყურებდი მამაჩემს და უცად რამოდენიმეჯერ ჰარმონიკაზე დაკვრა სიმღერა მიყვარს ისე ვუსმენ მაგრამ ისე არც მომწონდა უბრალოდ მიყვარდა მამაჩემის მოსმენა და მე ვცადე პიანინო ჩემი მეგობრის სახლში და ძალიან მომეწონა და დავწყე კლასიკური პიანინის სწავლა და ერთი წელი უკვე ვსწავლობ და ძალიან მიყვარს ხალხი მეკითხებან რა ენაზე ველაპარაკები ჩემს შოულებს და ისე რა ენაზე ვფიქრობ და ვეუბნები რომ ისე ჩემს შოულებს ველაპარაკები ინგლისურად მაგრამ დედას ურჩევნია რომ პოლონურად ველაპარაკები იმიტომ რომ უნდა რომ დამამახსოვრდეს პოლონური და როცა წავა პოლონეთში რომ შემეძლოს დაველაპარაკო ხალხს როგორც პოლონელი მამაჩემს ინგლისურად ველაპარაკები მაგრამ ისე მირჩევნია ინგლისური ყველაზე კარგად ვიცი ქართული და სახლ-გარეთ ვლაპარაკობ ქართულად, მეგობრებთანაც ქართულად, მარტო მშობლებთან ვლაპარაკობ ინგლისურად და პოლონურად.
So it was around 2016. You know, we'd always kind of fantasized about getting another place outside of Tbilisi, kind of like our little summer house. Would it be Kakheti? Would it be Ajada? Maybe Racha, and but Garikula was kind of one of these places that, or not just one. It was the place that in 2001, our very first supra, like the real supra, real deal supra, was there, and it was about 5 days. 5 days, just a complete blur. We don't really remember that much. But there's a lot of wine, lots and lots of wine.
For you, sweet mama, I would go to jail, climb a tree like a monkey, and swing by my tail. There ain't nothing, nothing that I wouldn't do for you. Baby, there's no end to the things that I would do. Work 24 hours a day for you, and if they added any more, baby, I work them too. Ain't nothing, nothing that I wouldn't do for you. Baby, there's no end to the things that I would do. Well, I'd crawl across the country on my hands and knees if I knew that you'd greet me with a hug and a squeeze. Ain't nothing, nothing that I wouldn't do for you. Baby, there's no end to the things that I would do.
Garikula, this is it, the center of the universe. And this is the best apple tree in the world. The apples from here, from heaven. We got shindi. I make cha-cha from the shindi. The walnut trees, quince. Walnuts need a little work. Hazelnut, pear tree, cherry trees. Over there we got Karaman Kutataladze, he's our neighbor. The art villa, great neighbor to have. And we have our persimmon trees. Made some cha-cha from that too, really good. And we have some chinuri growing. Yeah, we got it all here. It's like a Garden of Eden. The wine here from this region is just gorgeous. The Chinuri, Goruli, Tsvane, Shav Capital. I'm planning Shav Capital. Bought a piece of land right over there. Have a little Shav Capital vineyard. Tafqueri, great wine. So much good wine here. The snow's a bitch, man. It's really late, but they say it's good for the vineyard. That's what Gio says. Gio Malatsidze. He's my guru, my wine guru. He's making lovely wine. He lives over here in the village. He says, yeah, man, the snow's going to be really good for your land. Over here, this is Karaman's place. Right out here, the art villa. When we first came here, this was the only place in Garikula, and really, that was the main spot. And the Tedzami River goes right up here. The valley is just so gorgeous, goes all the way to Rkoni when you go up there. Center of the universe.